What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Brinson. I'm your host. It is Monday, December 6th. It's our second preview video. It's your fault, Sully. It's the Patriots. We went long on the actual preview of the game from a betting and props perspective, but I think we had good info in there. Took a bunch of overs. Can't possibly backfire in a 41 total game on us on Monday Night Football in Buffalo
with winds at 25 miles an hour. We got this.
Yeah, this is the DFS show though. Oh, and I should have mentioned too. I actually like Cole Beasley's over on receptions at 3.5. We'll dovetail all the talk. You can go listen to the talk about why we took the overs. But basically, we took a bunch of small overs that we think can hit. Like, Kendrick Bourne 2.5 catches. I like Beasley over 3.5 catches. Diggs over 4.5 catches. We're not asking for 10 catches and 150 yards. So when you start to get into this from a DFS perspective, I think it's interesting. Josh Allen is your top captain on the slate, obviously, at 16.8. It's pretty low number one captain price relative to what we have Lamar at 20K or something like that a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we've seen a ton of big numbers. I think Jonathan Taylor was a big number a while back. So this is a cheaper one, but I think that might reflect
captain, right.
Right. I think that might reflect the overall total of the game, where it's 41.
Correct. 15.9 for Steph Diggs, Mac Jones 15K, Damian Harris 14.7, Kendrick Bourne 12.9, Cole Beasley 11.7, Jacoby 10.8, Matt Breida 9.9. I mean, this is the weirdest pricing. Emmanuel Sanders 9.6, and then you get the backup quarterbacks. We get all the way down to Ramondre Stevenson at 8.4, Dawson Knox 8.1, Hunter Henry 7.8, and then Singletary. The kickers start coming into play. The defense is priced at 6K and 5.7 for captain purposes. I think, Sully, that there's a very, 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 very good chance that when this game kicks off and you start to see what percent of the ownership percentages that actually happen in the big contest, that the Pats defense is like 10% captain or higher than that, which is a crazy number. Now, look, you had to have the Chiefs defense on Sunday Night Football. They scored a touchdown. There's not a ton of points expected in this game. You can almost guarantee there will be a lot of people that double defense. Because if you go double defense, let's say you start Pats as your captain, right? We're going to start right here. We're going to go Pats captain, Bills defense as well. And then I'm just going to start smacking the top options and to see like when it cuts me off, because it really doesn't. You can then go Allen, Diggs, and I'm not saying that we necessarily want to do this, because I think if you're doing, if you're doing this defensive setup, you need to kind of cater the rest of your lineup to it, right?
Right, exactly. Like you don't want to, like you're saying, like you want the defenses, but then when you start saying you're going to smack the top options and really start playing it, well, those almost trend over. You're almost banging on those guys. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, you don't want to. You want to. You need your lineups.
It needs to make sense. Yeah, it needs exactly. It needs to make sense.
Now, I do think that Allen is so. Let's take Diggs out, producer Chris. I think Allen I want to leave in there because of his rushing equity. You had the over on his rushing yards on our props. We both have him as a first touchdown score at 10-1. If he scores a rushing touchdown, you will need Josh Allen more than likely in this game. I also want to have Damian Harris, who is the primary running back for the Pats. The wind is so bad that, this is one where it's like, if it's low scoring, does it turn to kickers? But I don't know that
the wind, I think, eliminates that.
Yeah. Although Belichick is not afraid to let Nick Folk rip one.
And he's been great. I will say this. Nick Folk's been great for the Patriots this year. He's just been so solid. Yeah. I think he just recently tied the franchise record for 50-yard kicks in a season. So it's pretty wild. Good. It's wild, honestly, that they went Adam Vinatieri. How am I forgetting the
Gostkowski? Steven Gostkowski. Yes, I'm too old. And then they're like, oh well, they have two franchise kickers for years. They can't find one. Then Nick Folk magically is hitting like 40 kicks in a row. Anyway, to the point. So I think we want to earn the running game for the Pats as best as possible. We don't want kickers, is what I'm saying. I think we need Allen in there. The question is, with these final two spots in this game's going way under lineup. What do you think here from a usage perspective? Because I don't think you want Diggs in this scenario. It's sort of like the Pats take away Diggs,
right?
And he doesn't have a big game. I think Dawson Knox would be a nice add here.
I wouldn't hate that. I do like his setup tonight, especially where it seems like the Patriots might not have Kyle Duggar. Is a short route option. Somebody you don't have to, hit down the middle of the field. I'd be more than happy with Docs there.
All right, so let's add. And by the way, like when we're looking at this lineup, you can see. Obviously, you're watching on YouTube. I mean, we have 9-6 remaining per player. Like you can't have Diggs and Mac, but you can have anything else. Like there's no shortage of it. So let's scroll down a little bit, Chris, and let's grab Dawson Knox. I love this lineup. It's so gross. And then the question is, how much money do you want to leave on the table?
Right.
And because at 13.8, you literally anyone is available. So let's scroll back up. Ramondre Stevenson, we see there's 5'6",
which I think is an interesting one, just because from what we've seen, if someone who hasn't watched the Patriots on a week in and week out basis, you might just think that okay, it's Damian Harris sprinkled in with a little bit of Ramondre Stevenson.
Ramondre Stevenson is awesome.
That really hasn't been the case. It's really been all right. The opening drive is Damian Harris. The next possession is Ramondre Stevenson, and you just kind of have to pick which one is going to actually get the touchdown here and who's going to be on the field during that possession that they're going to get into the right area and get a touchdown. So it really isn't all right, he's the third down, first down, third, goal line back. It's a drive by drive basis. So
it's like it's who's running well, who's not fumbling. And as you point out, it's like who is on the field when they get into the red zone. Like they're not, I mean, situations, obviously like 2-minute warning, maybe they sub out and Harris comes in, but like more than likely whoever is on the field with the team is going to get the red zone carries.
Yeah.
So I mean, leaving $8,200 on the table is pretty substantial. That's a lot.
so maybe we go Mac there and just you have both quarterbacks as a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a bad idea because we point out and like or build both lineups, right? Like,
right.
I think toss Mac in there. Beasley would be fine in there. And the other thing you can do too is and we don't have to build these all out. These are sort of the defensive based iterations that we're trying to think about. You could not have a defense as your captain. Clearly, there's enough money where you could go Josh Allen as your captain, use both defenses in your lineup. Now, obviously, you get 1.5 points for the captain spot. So, and look, if you play a defense and this is a low scoring, no turnover, or this is a 20, let's say the final is 21-20, which, is exactly what the total is. And we have no turnovers. These defenses won't score points. There's a pathway to there's a path. There's a path to the defense not scoring any points. What about you? What do you think? What's your preference for a captain in this spot? That's sort of my defensive rant there.
Right. And I think that's going to be very popular, but I also think it makes a ton of sense for what we both like the under in this game. So it makes sense that you would trend that way for the defenses. And I think both are still fine. I don't think you have to make them a captain. I think you're really giving yourself a low floor and a high ceiling when you talk about those defenses being in the captain spot, just because, like you said, it could go really well if you start getting pick sixes and the Patriots do what they did against the Falcons and pick off Josh Allen for 4 straight possessions to end the game. Sure, you're sitting pretty, you're doing well, but there's also, like you said, that scenario where it's in the 20s, it's still kind of under, and they haven't really done anything in terms of turnovers, and you're just kind of sitting there twiddling your thumbs. To me, I feel like I would feel a little bit better to have those guys not the captain. I still like Josh Allen as my captain. I think that he's somebody that maybe you can get a little bit more, I don't want to say value because it's not really value. He's the top guy on the slate. But if you're saying that a bunch of dudes in New England with Teddy Bruschi jerseys just sitting down cracking a beer, putting the Patriots as their defensive captain, well, then, all right, fine. You guys go do that. I'm going to put Josh Allen there because I'm going to get not only the passing equity, but that running equity really is going to help me in this game, especially when we're talking about potentially first touchdowns that we said that we loved. He was 10-1 there. Like,
all right, let's fire up a lineup with Allen as let's clear it out and fire up Allen. And look, Allen is he's the highest price guy, but he's also the very obvious best captain. Most likely to score the most points on this slate by far and away is Josh Allen.
Yeah, for sure. And so, again, it's chalky, but you're hoping that people are trying to get a little too cute and you give yourself a little bit of opening. Still going to be extremely highly owned, but you're just talking a little bit about, hopefully the other people are just like trying to get a little too cute and you can kind of squeak in there with a little less ownership for a guy like Allen. But I still, if you want to talk from a Bills win standpoint, I don't know if you want to call it like a Bills onslaught, but I still think Matt Breida is somebody that we should be paying attention to
for
here.
Sure.
Like I said, when we were talking about the first touchdowns on the pod, it's weird because he's higher priced. Breida is than Devin Singletary here, but Singletary's got the higher price for the first touchdown. So somebody's got to be wrong. I'm thinking it was Caesars that is wrong with the first touchdown, putting Singletary over Breida. I think Breida is kind of their best back right now, especially if we're looking at maybe Zach Moss again being a healthy scratch. We obviously don't know what his status is going to be. He's like $200. So I guess if he plays, he's a, like you like to say, Stone Cold Mint. Like,
I don't want to deal with anybody who's was a healthy scratch.
Right.
10 days ago. Or what was it? 7 days?
Thanksgiving. It was Thanksgiving.
Is that only 10 days ago? Oh my God.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Life.
But to me, Breida is somebody that I want to get in these lineups.
I agree completely. Breida 9. Oh, Singletary actually ended up having more carries on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but I think
it was
a blowout in the second half. I think that might have contributed to it.
Yeah, 100% without question. And Breida had 2 targets in the passing game, 29 receiving yards and a receiving touchdown. So at least some involvement there. I think let's toss Breida in there as well. I think you're spot on with the Breida take, and I agree with the first touchdown. Like he should be the guy who's 7-1, not Singletary.
And Knox to me is the other one that I want for Buffalo in terms of just, again, I think that he's somebody that's going to be pretty impactful in this game, especially when we're talking about Kyle Duggar possibly missing this game. And honestly, it seems like he probably will.
Yeah.
There hasn't been any, hey, it looks like he's going to be activated reports that have come out on Monday morning, which typically are not a great sign for somebody coming back. So he would be their typical Patrick Chung type of safety to cover those tight ends. He's just a go-to weapon for Josh Allen. To me, it makes a ton of sense, especially in this type of a game where he's going to be featured in those shorter passing yards. Those that it's not going to be a 80-yard touchdown like he would do to Stephon Diggs. It's a little bit more manageable in these conditions. So to me, Knox would be another one that I want to pay attention to. All
right, let's toss in Breida and Knox there in that lineup. Sully is building here. So Breida's 6'6", very cheap. Yeah, and but like you said, he is more expensive, right, than Singletary's 4'6". Wow.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The numbers are skewed.
DraftKings is on the Caesar. No offense to Caesars. I mean, they could be right. We'll see.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's
Yeah. I mean, I don't care I'm not worried about offending Caesar. Sorry, JP Smooth. These sportsbook commercials are like crazy. It's just weird. You're watching football. And it's like Jamie Foxx is like, "Come bet with the king," and it's like this would have been illegal a year ago. What is happening?
And I got Pat Oswald like talking in the stands in ancient Rome. I'm like, this is unbelievable. I love it.
Same game parlays, baby. You're like, what? Like what? All right, let's. Okay, so Allen, Breida, and Knox. Who else do you want to add here?
And so here I wonder, how much do we have? I mean, we could start. This is the conversation now where you start talking about the defenses, right? This is where you maybe start to say, okay, maybe both of these defenses just try to squeak in there.
Okay. I don't think there's any squeaking. You got $7K left per pop. Do you want Mac Jones in this lineup or no? I guess, let me ask you this. Are you shooting for?
This is a Bills. I'm going to go Bills win. This is a Bills win and under game. Okay,
so Bills win like 14-10.
Sure.
Okay.
Which again, you could have a bad night for Mac Jones. It wouldn't surprise me all too much. And then you have, I mean, even if you put those guys in, you can do whatever you want.
You can do whatever you want. Yep, correct.
So I think you throw Mac Jones in there because you're talking about someone who's touching the ball on every single play.
Yep.
So that's why you throw him in there. But to me, that's kind of how I see this game.
This pricing is loose as hell.
Right. Exactly.
If you play any of these, these defenses really should be priced up a little bit more because people, man. Okay. I mean, I like it. Like that looks like a 14-10 final with a couple of picks, some fumbles. It's
a sloppy weather game in Buffalo. That's kind of what I'm banking on that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Let's clear that one out, and then let's build a Costanza. I don't know what is the. All right, so no defense. See now again,
this is gotta be. This is like the Costanza's over. It's an over.
People should actually use this podcast, this video, to determine what is the chalky what is the consensus build going to be, because it's whatever we build first is we're like we gotta have defenses, and like if it's a different game, we're like, no, I can't have defenses here. I wonder if anybody's doing that. That would be awkward. It's like just fade. I hope they are.
They're just like, hey, listen, fade or follow. It's fine. Just as long as you're watching.
Fade. Okay, so in this event of a shootout, It's so hard to wrap your mind around the idea.
Right.
I think Mac Jones is the captain.
I like it.
So Mac's the captain. And we're going to have Josh Allen because it's
you have to.
I think that we go with, so I want to have Mac and a couple of pass catchers.
Mm-hmm.
So go Mac, Bourne, and Jacoby. We're going to go away from the run game. And look, we saw this last week with the Patriots against the Titans. They won 36-13. They blew out the Tennessee Titans. It was a little bit closer than people thought, or than the final, not people thought, than the final score indicated. One catch between the two running backs, Stevenson and Harris. Harris found the end zone, but 11 carries for 40 yards, 9 carries for 46 yards for Stevenson. Like, they weren't an efficient run team. They weren't a very good run team against Tennessee. Tennessee ran the ball much better than the Patriots did, and the Patriots slaughtered them because I guess they had a defensive touchdown, right? Didn't they?
They had a fumble. J.C. Jackson forced a fumble, and then he caught one in the end zone.
Nick Folk had 5 field goals.
Yes, he just went off.
And Kendrick Bourne had that little toe toucher on the sideline where he scored. Bourne scored twice, actually.
Yep.
So we got Bourne in there, we got Myers in there, and then the question is, how do we want this to stack out? I would guess that I think this is a Beasley. Beasley's our top available option. We have 8. Oh, okay. We suddenly are out of cash.
So I plugged it in real quick. You can fit Dawson Knox and Jonnu Smith in those final 2 spots if that's something that
is something I would be interested in.
So
you remember that line from Entourage? Where he's like, "Is that something you might be interested in?" I love that gif.
Was that actually the Tom Brady episode, the golf one?
It was the Tom Brady episode. Good call. Yeah, because he's out of the golf course. It's what's the actor's name who does it? But he's out there and he's like, and like they're like, "Oh man, like we got this deal." It's like it turns out this old man's just crazy. Yeah, that's leaves you 200 on the table, and look at that drop off too. So it's basically Nelson Aguilar at 3K, Jonnu at 2.4, and then just falls off a cliff to Gabe Davis at 1.2, Zach Moss 6. So yeah, it's a very loose price. There's going to be these lineups are going to condense around a certain build.
Yeah.
Involving defenses with the top players. And we haven't even mentioned Steph Diggs, which is probably a mistake.
Especially if we're talking about an over game.
Yeah. Should we take out I like that lineup a lot. And I do think, like, as much as maybe Diggs maybe this is a good lesson for us that Diggs is going to go under the radar because we're not talking about him. But I do think Belichick will focus on trying to take out Stephon Diggs and not let him beat them. Let's take out Jacoby Myers and Jonnu. Toss in Diggs. I think we can do this. Nope, can't do Diggs.
Just out.
Nope. Take out. I don't know if Diggs is going to work in that. Let's take out Knox. And I just want to. I like
see what. Yeah,
let's toss in Diggs and see what we have left. So 2,300 for 2 spots. So you can go with Aguilar. It's perfectly fine. Again, we're doing a shootout lineup, so Aguilar and Gabe Davis. There you go. I don't hate that.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. That's what 2 pass catchers each for 2 of the quarterbacks.
Yeah, I don't hate that for something that we're talking about again.
Honestly, I think that'd be a pretty unique lineup
for sure.
It's a lot of weather, a lot of wind. I don't think a lot of people will play that particular lineup.
No,
with no running backs, no defenses, no kickers in this game.
But those are the lineups. So again, you're talking about just being different.
Time to plug it in, Sully. Anywho, yeah. I think that I don't know. I hate to go away from Diggs can break the slate in a heartbeat.
That's what I mean. He's like a running back in that sense where it's just you're silly if you don't have this guy in there at some points because he could just legitimately be that slate.
You can't 100% fade Diggs is what you're saying.
Yeah. Like 100% fading Diggs would be like fading Josh Allen too, because you're just completely going away from him. But so I think that's even more of a lineup suicide. But to me, it's he's someone that again I don't know if you are throwing him in the captain spot.
That's what I was just looking at to see if there's a
we're talking about a guy who had 3 touchdowns for 140 something yards last week against this team on Monday Night Football. Like maybe we should. I mean, let's.
All right, that's the contrarian. Let's do it very quickly. We'll do Diggs as the captain. Yeah, that's the contrarian thing is the thing we haven't talked about the entire time, and the guy we've avoided for whatever reason the entire time as well. So Diggs is the captain. You're going to have Josh Allen in there. Sure. I think you're going to have Mac in the flex spot too.
Yep.
And again, we're thinking about an over game here. So let's go find Dawson Knox, who we like as a touchdown catcher. Ramondre Stevenson is such a discount off of Damian Harris and could easily outproduce him. I think that's a good option there.
And has been a better pass catcher.
Yes, correct. And then that leaves us with 1,200. Gabe Davis. Bang. Or 1,900.
Sure,
Gabe Davis. I mean, look, we don't think that's happening.
But in that sense, if we're talking about a crazy over game, that's probably a pathway.
And this is also sort of the game where the Pats take a lead. Like, I don't think this is not a Pats are trailing game. This is Pats score early, Bills forced to throw, funnel through Stephon Diggs, Dawson Knox, Gabe Davis, and then you have Ramondre and obviously, I mean, like this is an over game for sure.
Yeah.
All right. We got a hours worth of YouTube content for you on the Bills and Patriots game, which we are extreme. I'm more excited about this game than any game on this week's slate. Like this game has sort of been on my radar for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, this is gonna be a good one.
There's buzz in New England, right? Palpable.
Oh my, yeah. This is especially now that we're talking about a number 1 seed. This is probably. And I was actually texting about this with buddies, not to prolong this podcast any further, but this I can't really remember a bigger regular season division game in the AFC East in a long time. You got to go back to maybe the Mark Sanchez Jets. Like that's
you're
going back
as
far
back as you go. Yeah, I mean certainly
a huge game.
Yeah, I mean nobody's really ever competed with Brady. Like there's no been competition with Tom Brady in the past 20 years. So yeah, that's a good call on the Sanchez Jets games. Good job, Rex Ryan. Maybe you can pipe up about this too, pal. All right, that's it for the podcast. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button. Tell us who your favorite picks are. Make sure to check out, of course, the props and betting podcast in there as well. Follow Sully at Tyler. Is it Tyler Sully? Is that right?
Yep.
Tyler Sully on Twitter. And I'll talk to you on Thursday, buddy.